Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lightning Assault Noosphere podcast. My name is Nathan Leahy, aka The Mazer, and joining me I have Dan, aka Little Willie,
Hey, hey, hey.
and we've got Jay, aka The Mad Magos.
Howdy doody.
You can find the Lightning Assault Meadery at lightningassaultmeadery.com and on facebook.com/Lightning Assault Meadery. You can join our Discord channel. The link below is on the overlay discord.gg/various numbers and characters. I might have to update that every couple of weeks because I believe the link expires. And you can also join our Patreon at patreon.com/Lightning Assault. Jay, do you want to tell everyone your socials and where they can find you?
Yeah, certainly. So, obviously, the Mad Magos is all about painting commissions. You can find me on Fiverr under Mad Magos Paints and on Instagram under Mad Magos Painting. I've also recently dropped a load of recent works or works in progress into the Discord under the Painting Booth section. So, if anybody wants to go there just to have a check out and like I say, best way is probably give us a shout on Instagram if you're interested in a quote.
Excellent. And you can find Dan precisely nowhere.
Mm.
That's right. That's right.
How's everybody's hobby going?
Um, yeah, it's been interesting. Uh, like I say, getting those Nurgles, those Death Guard Terminators, Blight Lords painted up for the show on Thursday just gone. That was I actually really enjoyed painting them. Actually, to be fair, um, it's kind of inspired us. As soon as I need to get through these Blood Angels for the Escalation League that we're running, um, I think I'm going to go to the Death Guard. So yeah,
It was a nice job for a week.
thanks, mate.
Yeah, it was real nice. Dan, what you been up to?
Not much. I've been ill last week, so I haven't got the chance to do much in terms of Warhammer. I've got to play my last 500 point game for our tournament, which went well for me. Besides that, I've tinkered with lists for the 1,000 points for Custodes. Came up with a nice list, I think, for 1,000 points, and now I'm starting to paint some Virtus Praetor jet bikes for it. So that's about it.
Oh, nice. I've been desperately trying to keep up with my Mortal Realms subscription magazine. I've had 4 magazines arrive, and I still hadn't finished the building of the models from the previous magazine. So I've just finished building Kurdos Valentian, the Craven King for the Night Haunts, which probably takes the cake for the worst model to build ever. Holy shit! Like put
Night
this,
haunts are just painful, yeah.
yeah. There's like a spooky ghost that's attached to the side of his chair, and it's held onto the chair by like his hood, and then he has this enormous flag that's the size of the chair, and it's glued by 2 1 millimeter in diameter points, which are his little skeletal arms, and it weighs quite a bit. So I had to sit there for about 15 minutes waiting for the glue to like bond properly and fully to hold the weight of the flag. It was ridiculous. He's not even a
He's
good
doing
model.
sub assemblies, dude.
Yeah, it was the weirdest fucking thing. Yeah. And I still haven't finished building all the magazine stuff, and I got bored and decided to base paint some orcs. In the vain hopes that I'll be able to play some Beast Snaggers in the next, I don't know, month, maybe. Maybe they'll be ready in a month. God only knows.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get some orcs on the channel. Other
Mm.
than that, um, we always forget to mention it, but you can, of course, visit our local gaming store, Dice Cavern Games at dicecaverngames.com. Or if you're in the Lincolnshire area and you fancy jumping into a game store to buy some board games or some card games, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Warhammer Underworlds, Warhammer Bot Action, all that jazz. Most of the Warhammer stuff is 10% off. And you can order online for delivery as well. And you can head on down during the week and see some of our escalation games going on.
Mm.
First 2 rounds are completed. Both the 500 point matches are done, and so now everyone's building to 1,000 points. And there were some very different and interesting lists. It's going to be a very varied field. There's not much similarity between the lists, so it's going to be interesting for some, difficult for others, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, has John gone absolutely bananas on his lists?
I
I haven't actually. Are the lists posted? I
yeah,
haven't
yeah,
looked
yeah.
at the
If you
list.
go to
Oh, okay.
the standard Google Drive link that I
Yeah,
linked like a billion years ago,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
can
Cool.
find the folder with the 1,000 point lists in. And his was just weird. Like I'm sure he thinks it's good, but it's
I think John overthinks
he
his lists
does.
too
He
much.
builds a list
Oh
and it's
man.
fine, and then he's like, "Oh wait, no, maybe I'll do this in case my opponent does this," and then he changes it. And he emailed me like 7 times with different lists and kept
Jesus.
changing it. And I was like, "Why is there a bike squad in here randomly with no weapons?" So yeah, it's been interesting looking over all of that
What?
stuff.
Just old bikes,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
firstborn
Yep.
bikes.
I was
Well, he's
Okay.
confused.
running Ravenwing, isn't he?
Yeah. I don't.
What?
Is there a strat that you can use? Or is
I
that
don't know.
just the
Wouldn't
Ravenwing bikers, the Death Knights or whatever they're called, the Night bikers? I
yeah.
don't know. I
I was
looked at
gonna
it
say,
and I was like, why are they here?
wouldn't you just use Ravenwing instead?
Maybe. I don't know.
Aren't they just straight up better
Yes.
than?
I don't know.
Hang on. Ravenwing is
Go on.
straight up better than what? Than Ravenwing bikes?
No, Ravenwing bikers are just
The
straight up better
Knights.
than normal bikes,
Yeah.
like firstborn crappy bikes.
But the Ravenwing bikers are firstborn crappy bikes. The only difference between the Ravenwing bikers and the normal bikes is the Ravenwing bikers get to have plasma,
Yes, the Assault Plasma.
the assault plasma on the front of the bikes.
And
Hey,
So,
they have
good
better
thing.
weapons as well, right?
sorry?
They have better melee. They can take better melee weapons.
Yeah,
Those
you've got
weird hooked crowbill
yeah,
things.
you give them power swords and you can give them the power picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they are just straight up better.
Yeah, and there's stratagems so you can deploy Terminators from Deep Strike within like 3 inches of them, similar to Vexilla Teleport Hammer.
Ah,
Mm.
yeah. So I
Um,
mean, it's a odd choice. John is
yeah,
a
I'm
wonderful
sure he'll
creature.
explain it, and there'll be a mad scheme in his brain. Anyway, we are talking about the Tau 9th Edition Codex Wishlist. To
Yeah.
try to move back
Yay!
onto the subject at hand. Also, on the subject of changing subject, we've hit the 7 minute mark, so now is a good time to tell people to like and subscribe to the channel.
Yes,
Which is we would
abuse that like
yeah,
button.
yeah, touch it hard, slam it, slap
Touch it.
it like you're sweating and you've got to choose between two buttons, and
Do
this
it.
time pick both. Pick both the
Hit,
subscribe and the like and the bell button.
smash it
And
like you would smash his sisters of battle
speaking of smashing there's a battle,
for
that's a
the
lot of
emperor.
Yeah, smash it like you'd smash your stepsister stuck in a washing machine.
That's right. That's right.
you're
Tao. Speaking of
getting mad.
smashing stepsisters, Tao.
Speaking of getting smashed
Yeah,
while
so
stuck in a washing machine,
yeah, Tao are definitely stuck in their high-tech washing machine is holding them back at present. Their
sure
win
is.
rate from the last week's event is 38%. 37% since the start of 2021, so they've improved by 1 whole % since the start of the year. Similar win rate to GSC and Eldar, or the Assyriani Eldar. And out of all of the GTs that occurred in the last week and RTTs and whatnot, which was quite a lot, loads happened in the last week. 17 players were playing Tau, which was more than I
Wow.
expected.
Yeah, that's definitely more than zero. What's
Yeah.
going on? Why?
And for the first time, neither of them were Siegler or Ben Neal. So I don't know who these people are playing them. Apparently they're winning a third of their games somehow, so they must be diehard Tau fans at this point. I feel like they're the only people that will be playing
Sucks
them
to
at the
be a
moment.
Tau fan right now, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to be. If you're playing Tau, you have to be, because from what I've seen, because I've looked at the lists. From what I've seen, it just feels like there is no real play that you can make with them, right? They're not good against any particular part of the meta right now.
No, not
Like, I
really.
could understand if they were like this weird, like, off meta pick to beat someone.
Yeah.
Like,
A
like
specific
maybe
list.
you're afraid of, like, I don't know, fucking Drakari or something, and you're trying to counter Drakari because you expect everyone to be playing Drakari or Admech in this case. But yeah, they're not even particularly good at that, I don't feel. So
No,
I
not
don't
really.
know.
They're literally getting wrecked by everyone as it stands. And the last time anybody won they didn't win anything. They came top 4 and it was fourth place, and it was Richard Siegler in June. And he switched to Admech because, of course. So they haven't had a win since June. Before that, I think it was March with Ben Neal in like third or fourth place again. And they ran very similar lists. It's just mass XV8 suit bodyguards, a couple of commanders in a Farsight Enclave, and breachers with shotguns. And the what are they called? The Remora stealth drones, which me and Dan looked at quite significantly a couple of weeks back to figure out why the fuck people played them, and
They're very good.
Yeah, they're
Tau.
decent. Yeah, they're like the lone efficient unit in the entire Codex, aside from breaches. They basically have seeker missiles that only hit on sixes, but with marker lights, they get benefits or bonuses or whatever, don't they?
They with marker lights they hit on their normal ballistic,
so that's
which gets buffed up by marker lights again. So.
Yeah, that's the general overview of how they stand at the moment. In terms of sort of the fundamentals of their codex, they basically, I think we're all in agreement, they functionally cannot play 9th edition as it stands. They do not have a functional way to play the game.
They just do it very, very poorly.
Yeah. They have no midfield objective grabbers apart from breaches, which are just breaches. I mean,
yeah,
it's not like this.
They die to a light fart.
It's not like you can bring 80 of them like guardsmen, and it's not like they're durable like Blade Guard. They're just T3 bodies with shotguns, powerful shotguns, and that's it. So pretty much, and what I expect to happen, although I'm not sure what will happen, is either 9th secondaries change, which they already have the opportunity to have done, and they have changed them, but not in a way that affects Tau in any way whatsoever. They change.
No, I really doubt they're going to change secondaries just for one faction.
They change the way Tau function in terms of their sets and their sort of core, or they change the role of certain units by changing their data sheets entirely. Like they just take a commander and completely rewrite the data sheet. They either rewrite the data sheets or they rewrite the faction. It's one of the two. They kind of don't really have a choice.
I don't think. I mean, I think the sets are gonna get changed anyway.
Yeah.
Just to bring them in line with every other faction. They tend to have some similarities. I think they need to be changed. Personally, they need to be changed from a mechanics point of view. It's not necessarily about the data sheets. It's about the additional Tau specific rules that they get and Tau specific things they get that need to change dramatically.
Well, I mean, historically, the thing is with Tau, they were a gunline army. They were always famed for being a gunline army. They did what God did, but better back in the day. And the way that, like you say, the 9th edition game has changed. It's all about grabbing and holding objectives. It's not necessarily about just blasting your opponent off the other side of the board.
Yeah.
So for me, the only way they're going to be able to kind of keep the Tau law-wise structured like that is they're going to have to increase the abilities of Crute and Vespid something serious, so the auxiliaries come into it, or they're gonna have to give battle suits the ability to move forward up a board, and then if they are charged, things like fall back and still be able to shoot.
You're close, but not quite. They are a gun line, but we have very powerful gun lines at the moment. Like, look at Adeptus Mechanicus, right? They are a gun line army. They absolutely melt. That's because they have very strong bodies in their troops.
And they're durable with Lucius.
They're durable and they have the mobility as well. The issue with how Tau work, again, I'm speaking from experience. I've played a bit of Tau. They are what is known as a castle army, right? So they are very good at being very grouped up and holding the middle of the board. But they they rely heavily on units buffing each other, and they relied heavily on drones to be the shield for the army. So they needed to stay in this really tight, packed formation, hold the middle of the board, and shoot at stuff.
That's fair.
And they can't really do that anymore. They relied heavily on layering lots of buffs on themselves.
Hmm.
So plus hit modifiers because they have like a baseline. Their baseline ballistic skill is what, 4 up
Or
for the
mostly.
entire army. So they
Hmm.
relied on stacking hit modifiers. For example, you got +1 from the Markalite, then you got +1. Usually they used to run 3 Riptides. That was the core of the army because they were so efficient. So you'd run triple Riptide or the Triptide as it was called, and they would take their little systems, so they would get another +1 to hit against flyers or stuff like that. So you'd stack a lot of modifiers. Again, same with like the Ghost Keel, for example, that relies on stacking 2 -1 to hit fires
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
actually function, and that unit just doesn't work as it's supposed to in ninth edition because you can't stack minus to hit modifiers. It's
Yeah.
so dumb. Like
So
there's lots of
using
stuff like that with the codex that just doesn't work. They
yeah,
literally
but
broke the rules and
using
just
your
broke.
example with with the Scutari, for example, what they did with Scutari is they bumped the squads up from 10-man squads up to 20-man squads. So you doubled that gun line. That's why Scutari is so powerful, because it's sheer volume of shots, because you can run these huge 20-man blobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
They got these options, and it also they don't need to run them like in a tight group, right?
Yeah.
Like the
mhm,
Tau do. They can split. They have the was it the Tech Priest Manipulus, right?
Yep.
And he's
mhm,
got the
AP one.
was it is it a warlord trait, isn't it? Or is it a relic? I can't remember. The warlord or the relic trait that lets him teleport
Oh, it's the relic,
with
the
another
solar
unit.
solar
Yeah.
flare.
yeah,
Yeah, solar flare, so he gets to teleport and like bring a squad of 20 dudes with him and just melt shit. And then he gives
mhm,
them basically what is it? Transhuman
Oh
physiology. So,
yes, every turn, yeah.
so they can't even
yeah,
take him out easily. It's again like AdMech
mhm,
does what Tau wants to do better, right? AdMech
yeah.
layers rules upon rules upon rules and buffs on units,
On
which is
top
what
Would
of
you want
their
Tau wants
would
to do.
you
on
want
top
to
of
see a similar thing with
pentacles.
your Pathfinder squads and your Breacher squads? Would you like to see these bigger blobs and the ability to move them about the board quickly, or do you want to keep that whole castle situation?
No, it's a tough one. I don't think I'd like to see a castle necessarily, and I
No.
wouldn't mind. Like I guess they could make them play like Admech, but I think they got opportunities to make more interesting stuff, right? So like
Hmm.
Tau got lots of drones, and it'd be cool to see them do something else with the drone instead of bringing headquarters to buff those troops, right? You have drones to buff those troops. They already got a
Yes.
drone that like increases the range, right? The range of their pulse rifles. So why not like have a drone that I don't know, like increases AP or stuff like that?
I would.
And I know, drones have the issue of you can target them if you want because they're not part of the squads; they're a separate unit, so the enemy can like shoot them down. But if you're smart with your positioning, like you can hide them behind things and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I think they could do some very interesting stuff. It's just they need to either they got two options, I think, right? They either or three, I guess. They either completely redo like the whole faction altogether, right? They just go in a weird direction that none of us can predict. I don't know. That's an option. Then they either, I don't know, do what they did to AdMech and just give them a crap load of extra layers of buffs and stratagems and shit that they can buff themselves with. Or they start bringing their stat lines up, I
Yeah.
guess.
Hmm.
And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Like since they can't layer plus hit modifiers, maybe they'll bring the whole army to a 3 up ballistic skill across the
Yeah,
board.
that's
That
what
could
I
be
want to
cool.
see. I'd like I mentioned
Um,
in my notes, like they shoot the same as guard, but I'm not entirely sure they should shoot the same as guard. I feel like they should be slightly better at shooting as guard and maybe redo or replace aspects of the Markalite system.
yeah, it would be cool to see a redo of the Markalite and make it more interesting, right? Because the only thing that Markalite was being used for was the plus to hit,
Yep.
really.
Yeah.
And it just felt like such a. It was like this weird, like just crutch, right? It was just
Yeah.
a crutch to the army. So you just kind of had to do like play your shooting phase in a specific way where you always shot with your little dudes first to try and get some marker lights on, and then you shoot with your big things, and it was just, again, it just felt like a crutch, right? You had to do three things to do a thing. So it'd be nice to see the marker lights do something more interesting.
Yeah. I would like to see the one thing I always found interesting in the computer games, the shield drones would reduce incoming damage as opposed to take the damage for the squads inside it. Um,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't mind
Hmm.
like shield drone squads providing bonuses to the saves to units that they're either within or wholly within, similar to like the Orc custom force field, or provide like an invuln save or something for your meager fire warrior squads, just to make them a bit
Yeah,
more durable, like the Admech Lucius stuff where they have +1 to their cover save as if they're in light cover. It'd be cool to see drones doing that, and I don't know. I just want
Yeah,
to see fire warriors actually do something.
do stuff. I mean,
agree.
they're the troops. The fire warriors always had like pretty neat weapons.
Yeah,
Like their pulse rifles are what? They got long range. They're like
yeah.
36-inch baseline, I think.
501. Yeah,
Strength 5. So they already got the strength. So if you just give them like 1 AP, right, they're already
yeah.
pretty good.
Or
So
give
I,
them
I
a
can
way
see
to
them get AP.
access 1 AP, like Admech.
Could be cool. Again, that those are things that could be done with the marker lights, right? Imagine
Yes.
like
Yeah.
Admech
Yeah.
do like mortal wounds or auto wounds on sixes or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those are the things that can be rolled into the marker light, right? So then you have a lot more reasons to bring a marker light for something more interesting rather than, oh, I can actually hit with my fucking guns. That's nice. Oh,
Yeah. What? So you would? What would you do? Bring those core rules in with strats. So you bring marker lights with your squads, and you pay point tax, and
yeah.
then
So
you can use
marker lights are marker lights. It's kind of a weird system, right? Because the marker light is a weapon.
Yeah.
It's classed as a weapon, but if you
right.
fire the marker light, you can't fire anything else. So straight away, you're in this awkward spot because you're trying to get some marker lights on a target. So you have to shoot it with the marker light, but you're shooting on a 4-up. So straight away, it's a 50-50 if you hit to begin with.
Hmm.
And then you have to get, what was it? I think it was 2 marker lights. I
Yeah.
haven't played Tau in years. You had to get like 2 marker lights to get +1 to hit. And then all the other bonuses to the marker light, nobody gave a shit
Yeah.
about
They're
because
pretty
they were
pretty
kind of
shitty.
mediocre. So I think I'm fine with marker lights being again like a weapon profile they
Yeah.
have to shoot. I think that's fine, right? You trading firing for a buff, which is fine. But let's make those buffs, I think, more interesting.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, like a 2 marker lights maybe give AP, or maybe
Yeah.
3
That makes
marker lights or
sense.
whatever, give AP,
But
right? A 6
you,
marker lights maybe make it so, hits of 6 auto wound or stuff like that.
mm,
Like if we go on the route of how AdMech are done, or anything like that. I don't know. Make it wild. Make it so marker lights stack up to like, I don't know, like 8 or something, and at maximum marker lights,
Full
you deal like
rerolls.
mortal wounds or something.
Yeah.
Why not? Let's go wild if you want to go wild. How cool would it be, right? If you have like end up with these really weird armies that like stack marker lights, you have to stack like 12 marker lights, let's say, right? But if you do, you just like deal mortal wounds in additional to
With
your
with
damage.
fire
So if you
warriors.
really want to like blast something like off the
yeah.
table, you got that option, right? With the right investment. And I think those are interesting choices to make
Yeah.
rather than
Well,
I need to
that's the
bring
thing, though.
mark
But
lights to play my army.
if you do that though, nowadays, I totally agree with where you come from. Get where you come from. But if you have marker lights as a weapon profile, the thing that you can do now that you never really used to be able to do is you can split fire with your squads.
I mean, you used to be able to split fire with your squads in 8th edition.
Mm, and still get the buff off.
Yeah.
But you were saying you had to either choose with the mark light or choose to shoot with the squad.
Oh no, the marker lights say if you're firing the marker lights, that model can't fire any other
Yeah.
weapons.
So if there's a marker light drone and
Right.
it's got another gun, it can only fire the marker light.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
That
it's
makes
only,
sense.
was it? So the way to get marker lights is you got the marker light drones, but drones are awkward because they hit on a 5+
Yeah.
rather than a 4+. You got, I think it was the Pathfinders have
Yeah.
Markalites, and you can upgrade one of the Fire Warrior. Was it their team leaders?
Oh, the
Um,
cadre, whatever.
yeah, I think it was it. No, no, it's just the like the captain, not captain. What they called in
The
space?
commander,
Yeah, like
well,
the
the equivalent of the sergeant.
that's it. The sergeants. That's the one. You
Hmm.
can upgrade. You can give a Markalite to the sergeant, so the sergeant shoots a Markalite instead of his normal
Yeah.
pulse rifle. And they also have a headquarters that can throw Markalites. Is the Cadre
Cadre
Fireblade.
Fireblade, that's the one. That was what I was thinking of, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, the Cadre Fireblade was good because it was he actually had a ballistic skill of 2 up, so he was
Oh,
like reliable Markalites. It's like your only source of reliable Markalites. I mean, they have stratagems for extra
extra,
Markalites
yeah.
and stuff. A lot of them involve you actually getting Markalites to begin with. So it's an awkward system. It's a
Mm.
weird crutch. It's there to solve a problem that shouldn't be there to begin with.
In
I
the
think,
first
in my
place,
opinion.
yeah.
Yeah. One of the other troop units that's sort of been absolute trash tier for a long old time is the Kroot Carnivores, which
Yeah, the
I know
poor
they're
crews.
auxiliary and they're kind of ugly
Hmm.
models and they're old models and I think they fuck up the faction keywords as well. And they'd like
Uh,
mess things up with detachments, I believe. I can't remember. Um
No, no, no. They don't. They
no.
don't. They just don't get the
They basically get nothing.
keyword.
And they're just T3,
don't
6 up
benefit, but
save.
yeah, they don't benefit from the Tau set rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They benefit from pretty much nothing. They've got very few stratagems. I think they have 2 stratagems in the entire army.
Nope. They got a lot of stratagems. They had a lot of stratagems in. They had a lot of stratagems added to them in Psychic Awakening. They just. Eh.
Yeah, only 2.
Is there only two?
Yeah, ambushing predators and hidden hunters. That's it.
But I think they had a lot more. Hmm.
Yeah, no, it's because of their keywords.
No, nobody runs them.
Yeah, exactly. It's because they're keywords. They just don't get anything pretty much. They're T3, 1 wound, 6 up save. Their only interesting aspect is that they have a 7-inch move.
Yeah,
So
and they have a melee, right?
yeah, they've got a
They can hit.
401 gun and they've got a 401 melee. They're just trash. They're too
So
expensive. They're too weak. I mean, I was talking to James the other day, and I was like, "Look at Crew Carnivores and then look at Poxwalkers."
Yeah.
Like, you either go one of two ways with Crew Carnivores. You either make them similar to Poxwalkers, where you have like these huge blobs of sort of easily killed models, but they have like weird ways of coming back or moving or just being a pain in the ass, or you convert them to be like orcs, I guess, like high toughness but still low save.
that's the thing, though. Like law wise, they're not.
No, well, law-wise, they are the Tau's version of shock assault troops. They were them and the Vespid because Tau were inertly physically weak,
Yeah, yeah. Tau are weaker than
and the
humans.
crew were the guys,
Meat
they were
shields.
very good snipers and they were very good infiltrators. They were
They're
really good
more.
at blending,
Yeah, they're
and they
just
were
like
tough.
forward trips, and I wouldn't. But they're just kind of again. They're in an awkward spot, even law wise, right? Because law wise, they're not. They're just like really aggressive, savage mercenaries. That's what they really are. They're
Yeah.
not. They're not particularly tough.
No.
They're
No, they're
not
not. No.
particularly strong. They don't have like great technology. They just, I think, a lot of their tech is kind of not borrowed from the Tau, but it's kind of their own janky
It's
stuff.
adaptive, yeah.
Yeah.
They're just odd, right? That they have was it? I think law wise they're meant to be able to like they're kind of like not cannibals, but they kind of eat
Yeah.
like
Yep.
the dead, and they're meant to get stronger that way.
Get their
But
abilities and shit.
I don't
Yeah, they
think
get
don't think there's a really way like you would implement that in a game where it would be actually good. Because what they start off weak and then they get stronger if they kill stuff, sure,
Yeah.
but okay, but that means you just still have shitty troops at the start.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
but
they
just sort
still
of
have to kill stuff.
spec them like
It's awkward.
poxwalkers. Bring a squad of 20 T3 bodies that die really easily, but they're just cannon fodder for jumping on
Yeah, I
objectives
think
and slowing
you
the enemy.
can. I think you
Yeah.
can take them in.
Yeah, you
You can
can.
take them in bricks and 20.
Yeah, but they're too expensive.
It was a
Do that.
120. It's 120 points for unit of 20,
Yeah,
which is not great. Um, don't know. That's a tricky one. I think they're kind of hard to like. It would be hard to fix them. I think without breaking like the law
yeah.
too much, right?
I'm thinking more
Maybe give
like
them bonuses, maybe because they're kind of meant to be like James said. They're more like sort of. I wouldn't go as far as infiltration units, but they're meant to be kind of good at that side of things,
yeah,
maybe. So like I don't know, maybe give them bonuses to like if they're in cover,
yeah, similar
like
Well, they were
to
extra
like
saves.
weren't they?
yeah, similar to like orc
I,
commandos where they get extra
yeah,
defense in cover and shit like that.
yeah, I think that's the way I would probably like to see them play. Like, stick them, keep them in a troops choice, but
Oh yeah, I wouldn't put
even
them in anything else but true.
even if you turn around and gave them, so right, who is out here? So there are a troops choice. Keep them in the 20 blob squads. Maybe make them a little bit a little bit cheaper,
Yeah,
and then be able to customize them. So you have one of say three options that either they are quite infiltratey, or they know how to blend into the sceneries type thing, which could be something like +1 to save in cover. You make them I don't know, the second option would be something where they've already excelled in the previous combat. Like you say, they've eaten the genetics of the dead enemy. Hell, they've even eaten some space marines at some point. So they've taken on that genetics and they've evolved as a result of that, and they get, I don't know, +1 toughness or +2
yeah.
toughness,
Or they
but
get
keep all the
shock
rest of the
assault,
stats the same. Or they get yeah, shock assault. That'd
extra
be nice.
attack in melee when they charge, or maybe even give them
Yeah,
advance and charge.
I
yeah.
think maybe.
And
I
then
think
what that
it's an
lets you
option.
do is that lets you tailor them to a way that benefits your Tau army, regardless of how you're going to run your Tau army.
Yeah, I think giving them options like that would be cool. But then that would involve Games Workshop actually making new kits for them, and we both know that
Yeah,
Tau are
well,
not popular
you
enough
could
to
you
get
could
new
not
kit.
make new kits for them. You can make it so that they still have the same gun, the same crew rifle and the crew
Hmm.
rifle melee. Just give them like three passives that they can choose from. So they're either extra
Yeah,
infiltrating and
Okay,
get
so
bonus save in
like
cover,
the
or
Drakari combat drugs.
yes, yes, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
That
exactly.
could work. Could work. I was thinking, yeah, that would be a cool option. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think what I was thinking is maybe making them. Obviously, I think maybe a bit cheaper. But I
oh,
was thinking.
100%, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, what are they? They're 6 points a pop now, right?
yeah.
Don't know how much cheaper you'd make it. How much is a Poxwalker?
Um, let me check. I know guardsmen are currently 5.5 points, and they have orders, a 5-up save, better leadership, better shooting, not better shooting.
How about you'd make crew because they're meant to be the melee dudes, right?
Yeah,
Why not make them melee cannons? Because they already got the movement for it, right? They already
yeah,
move 7 inches. Give them, check this out. Keep them at 6 points, but give them advance and charge.
yep,
Change their weapons to assault,
yeah, that would make sense.
and give them was it their melee is what 401 right now? Make it I don't know like 5 - 1. I don't know, give them exploding sixes
Yeah,
for me. I
Poxwalkers
don't
are
know, maybe
five
that would be a bit
points.
too much.
Poxwalkers are 5 points.
But yeah, because they already have a weapon skill of 3 up.
Yeah,
So why I think it would be cool to have them as these like pretty savage like glass
just
cannon units, so you
fast.
can send them in,
Yeah,
so the opponent kind of has to deal with them before they
hmm,
just get. I mean, fuck, they're only one attack. They need at least one more attack.
yeah.
The
Ju-
fuck you gonna do with
If you
one
want to
attack
be
in Spectre?
stingy, give them one extra attack on the charge.
Yeah,
Nah, they can get. I think they should have baseline 2
Yeah.
attacks.
Oh yeah, because Poxwalkers have 2 attacks, don't they?
yeah, they do.
There's very few things that have one baseline attack.
It's just Guardsmen.
Everything that's pretty much all units that had one attack baseline have moved to 2 attacks. I
Yeah.
think
Except
in the new
Chaos.
codex.
Ha 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 ha.
Chaos hasn't had their new codex.
No, no.
But even Death Guard went up to 2 attacks
Yeah.
baseline. Thousand Suns went up to 2 attacks baseline. So everyone was going up in attacks anyway. So it makes sense for them to have 2 attacks. But
Yeah.
yeah, either some sort of weird choose your bonus or some kind of um, glass cannon melee. I'd love to run like super aggressive crew.
Yeah. That seems fairly reasonable. Moving swiftly on, the tanks. I don't think anyone takes any of the tanks. I've seen people take a couple of the mini baby transports with the
The
plasma
Devilfish.
equivalent, is it, or melter equivalent? What they call it? Is it devilfish or is it the piranhas? Devilfish, isn't it?
The
The tank.
piranhas are,
The
yeah,
devilfish is the transport.
Yeah, the baby thing. That's all people take at the
yeah.
moment.
The heavy support is the hammerhead.
Yeah, and the Skyrail, which has just got shitloads of Seeker missiles.
Yeah, the Skyrim gunship.
Yeah. The Hammerhead only has a single shot, strength 10, -4, d6 damage, does mortal wounds, but doesn't really hit.
Yeah, it's got a big rail gun, doesn't it? I think
Yeah.
you can give it the iron cannon as well,
Yes. Yeah. 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 They
which
just.
is 3 shots. It's like a weird plasma basically. It's a
Yeah.
big plasma cannon.
They're just not. I don't know. They're just kind of
See, I kind
shitty.
of like it's a shit. I think they need something, right? Because they get the sponsons, so they get to put little drones in
Yeah.
their sponsors. I don't know, you take like smart missile systems, I guess, or something. But yeah, I'd love to see something a bit more done with the tanks because they have the Tau have the really cool headquarters that buffs tanks.
Yeah. What's his
They have
face?
the
Yeah,
tank headquarters.
Long strike, is it?
Yeah, yeah, long strike,
yeah.
which is basically a hammerhead.
Yeah.
Uh, that gives other hammerheads a +1 ballistic skill, I believe.
Yeah. Makes them hit on 3s.
Tank ace.
Yeah. I don't know. No one takes them, and I'm not really sure what could be done to them to make people take them because they're very fragile and they're not very reliable at shooting.
So their stat line is what? Toughness.
I think
6.
they're
Oh, T7, sorry. T7,
Yeah, they're
13 wounds.
T7, 13 wounds, right? With a 3-up save, but they don't have. They could. It. They're in the same sort of weird spot with stuff like Space Marines, right?
yeah, the
Where their
repulsors and
tanks are
stuff.
just not.
Hmm.
They're okay, but they're just outshined by everything else.
When there's
And it's
infantry and bikers that provide better anti-tank shooting than your tanks.
yeah, that's it. It's just
Yeah, multi-motor attack
unnecessary.
bites and plasma inceptors have kind of rendered vehicles obsolete.
Moot.
Yeah, it's just there's
Yeah.
a lot of problems with vehicles.
Yeah,
They're big, they're hard to move around. They don't really give you much. They don't have obsec. It's just there's a lot of issues with big vehicles
yeah,
like that, right?
I just think with tanks in general, the easiest thing to do, like I say, because of things like plasma and centers, etc. And I think this hollers back the Games Workshop. Everything should be able to wound anything on a 6-up.
they can.
No, that's my point. That's what I think the problem is with tanks, that everything can hurt it regardless. I think the way to fix tanks in general, across the board with all factions, is make them, I won't say completely invulnerable to small arms fire, but you should be taking down tanks with your heavy support options.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think back
So like
in
with
many
with
editions ago, yeah, like big heavily armored stuff literally couldn't be harmed by like
Las guns.
pissy weapons. Yeah, so
yeah,
do you
like
only yeah
fair enough. Make it so say your infantry squad, so tanks are vulnerable to grenades still, but they should be impervious to like any small arms fire. So the equivalent to your las guns, even your bolt guns to a certain extent with the Tau make tanks immune to their pulse rifles and things like that. And it's got to be the heavier things. To do that, you just start giving tanks and heavy support vehicles, or the equivalent of across the factions, double the amount of wounds.
Yeah.
So it really does take an awful lot to bring a tank
Well,
down. That's where I'm at with
what they
tanks just in
appear to be
general.
doing is just giving everything -1 damage. Because they've done it
minus
with
one
Okay.
damage
orcs.
feels like it's not even enough these days. I
Yeah.
think
No.
I like your idea, James. It would be interesting to bring that back, that kind of stuff.
Well,
So, for
it does
example, I don't.
exist for Krieg. For Krieg's Lehman Russ tanks, if they get shot at with anything that is... One second, let me check. It's a Mars
Yeah,
pattern Lehman
yeah,
Russ.
something like yeah, if weapons with strength like 6 or less, for example, only wound on or even 7 or less.
Yeah, only
Um,
wound on 6
only
plus.
only wound on a 6 plus. Yeah, that would be an interesting rule. That would make tanks extremely desirable.
And then you can justify paying the heavy points cost for them and everything else.
Yeah, and I
And all of a
guess at that
sudden
point you don't need to worry too much about, because I think there's there's only a few really like ways to fix this, right? You either give it a wacky rule like that, right, where small arms don't hurt it. You start giving them invuln saves,
mhm,
or you do some like weird band-aids, like you said, where I don't. It's weird, right? Because the power creep has gone up so much in the like everything's got armor penetration, everything's got pretty high
mhm,
strength weapons, everything's got a lot of wounds. Like
yeah,
toughness 7 is just not that impressive anymore. Even
mhm,
toughness 8 is kind of like, ooh, so spooky. Wow.
yeah.
So
I either just throw enough dice at it and it dies anyway,
yeah,
because that goes back to the whole Scutari thing with the
yeah,
radium
exactly.
carbine. If you've got a 20-man blob, you're shooting 60 shots, and you can double that or get that up to like something like 90 shots, isn't it, in a turn?
Yeah, it's
It,
wacky.
like it's just like the whole point is the probability just takes over no matter what you've said.
Yeah, so here it
So like
is.
you said,
I found the rule. It's a Krieg rule. It's fucking hard to find. This is on their Mars Alpha battle tanks, which are basically normal Lehman Russ tanks, but just the Krieg version. This
hmm
vehicle receives +1 to its armor save rolls against weapons with a strength of 4 or less.
Yeah, so it's not enough. That's
No,
really not
but
enough.
it's a concept of a tank
yeah,
taking less damage from small arms
Yeah,
fire.
just
but
+1 to save, it's nothing. The issue is like there's so many weapons that just have like there's so much damage 2, damage 3
Yeah,
weapons these days, and like we've been saying, just the volume of fire is ridiculous. So unless you start doing weird band-aids where either tanks all of a sudden have much higher toughnesses, right?
yeah,
Where I know tanks go up to like T8, T9, wacky shit like that, or they can only be wounded on a 6 up against weapons that are like toughness 7 or less, or stuff like that. I don't
mhm.
think tanks will be viable, or like
I
another
yeah,
weird.
suppose the only thing we can take away from that, at least as a precedent.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely precedent. They've had rules like that. So I think back to Tau, I think that their tanks is just, yeah, same issue as other tanks. They have a shitty ballistic skill to begin with, right?
Mhm.
And then it doesn't help that they have the same problems as other tanks. They just get blasted. Oh, and the other issue they had, harping back to 8th edition and current edition, actually, because they don't have a new codex. Tanks have another disadvantage in the army compared to mech. Drones only affect battle suits, not vehicles.
Oh,
So all of their tanks don't
yeah,
benefit from stuff like
Marker lights and shield
Mark,
drones.
they would benefit from Arclights, but they
Oh
don't
yeah,
don't benefit from the Savior protocols.
yeah,
So that's the passing wounds off to drones. So they can't be saved by drones. They just have to take the damage.
yeah.
That's
Mm,
why that's why nobody plays their big boy Lord of War. The
what the Walker, the
The one that's full of drones.
it's not full of drones. The what's it called?
The Manta?
Storm
Oh,
Surge, isn't
Storm
it?
Surge. Yeah,
Yeah, the Storm Surge, because that's not classed as
a
a
battle
battle
suit.
suit.
No.
It's a vehicle,
Yep.
so it
right?
doesn't benefit from you can't protect it with drones or anything. It's like okay.
Yeah, that's a weird uh oversight that they either don't intend to fix or they are not aware of it because it's so obscure and they just don't care to fix it. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see them changing savior protocols.
Yes, yeah,
I think savior protocols, it's either gonna work on everything
or disappear.
potentially, or disappear into this awkward. I don't know. What they're gonna. It's, again, like Tau, just it's such a broken codex at the moment
Yeah,
that it's hard. There's so many ways to this. There's so much wrong with it that it's hard. I don't even know where I would start if I was Games Workshop on fixing it.
yeah. Well, I don't know where I read it, and I don't recall if it was a credible leak or not. But from I can't remember if it was that in that pile of leaks from Bolter and Chainsword. They didn't appear to be doing much with Tau. They were just doing a cookie cut ninth release similar to the others, where they just get one extra model. Which, if that's the case, they're so fucked.
Yeah, like they need to redo their
Tau
I don't
sets
know,
and
maybe they
everything.
can get away with like just upping all of their data sheets, maybe,
Yeah.
right? But I don't think that'll be
Well,
enough.
that's the other thing. They lost fall back and shoot because the fly keyword changed.
Yeah, which was
So you
devastating. That
can
was
bad
so
touch
devastating for Tap.
everything in the army.
Yep.
Well, I
Um,
think I mentioned that at the beginning, didn't I?
yeah,
The need to bring that back.
Yeah, no, that was again just ninth edition. Just it was so against everything that Tau stood for. Like
Yeah,
it just ruined all of their
yeah.
rules.
It was like the entire edition was designed to undermine the Tau Codex, or that the
It
Tau
does.
Codex was designed to explicitly play 8th edition and nothing else.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, which is a shame. I don't. It's sad to see that they just these things are like I feel like such oversights that to us are obvious, and I don't understand how they miss these things, and
I,
then they just don't fix them for years on end.
from what I can remember, so for the most part, they used to have like I'll call them champions. They used to have these champions that used to sort of they won't be employed directly by Games Workshop, but they would like consult with Games Workshop. And they used to have like a couple or one or two that would be like champions of various armies. And like the guy, what was that guy's name? Fuck, he basically used to be the champion for Custodes. He passed away a couple of years ago. He had a fancy looking Tau army as well, and he was basically the champion for a couple of armies. And since he died, the armies that he was the champion for have just gone to the dust, basically. So I feel like there's a bunch of people that are there to provide feedback and stuff for Tau, for other armies that aren't doing it for Tau, and so they're not quite getting the same tension.
yeah.
Yeah, I know it's weird.
You
A
can't
lot of
just
the
rely on
times,
Richard Siegler to go to Games Workshop and design the entire codex for them.
no, it's just it feels like it's getting to. It really feels like this edition, especially. I mean, it's funny. I was actually talking to to Vicky earlier. I think I understand why they stagger releases, right? And why they don't release everything at once,
Well, it's
right?
financial.
Yeah, it's bad business
Yeah.
sense. It's a very poor business sense, and I get that. but at the same time, they could even they don't need to do a full army release to release a FAQ,
Yeah,
right?
FAQ
Though,
is an option that they could use at any time of the year to
yes,
make minor
exactly,
fixes, quality of life improvements, and they could do it whenever they wanted. But they seemed so
absolutely can.
intent, so fucking demanded to only do it like once every 3 months.
It's not even that. It feels like
Mm.
they don't play the game. Sometimes just some of the choices they make, it just feels like they don't play the game.
Yeah.
Like they just go off some spreadsheets and basic number crunching, and they just go off the back of that.
Well, when the great chapter approved of 2019 happened, I think it was Goonhammer figured out the algorithm that they used to repoint models. They didn't repoint models based on anything or based on any data. They put it through an
Yeah,
algorithm and increased or decreased points based on an algorithm and just applied it to every
yeah, that
codex.
was yeah, that was for ninth edition, wasn't
Yeah.
it? When ninth edition came out, yeah.
So yeah, I can well believe that they don't.
Yeah, it would just be basic spreadsheet work.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that. So, and that obviously does not catch nuance
Yeah.
on.
And from what I can tell, the point costs of models seems to be based almost entirely on their defensive stats and not much on anything else. Like if you look at
I-
Poxwalkers being the same price as Guardsmen, and then look at the sort of discrepancy in
Yeah,
stats.
they do value saves and
Yeah,
toughness a lot.
I don't know. It's weird. I won't pretend to understand it, but who knows?
No, I think a lot of it, to be honest, I think a lot of it is, you start seeing resemblances between what Games Workshop does and just any other business. I think it's just old timey people that have just set in their old timey ways
Yeah,
and not willing to budge with the time.
yeah, and I'm
Because
sure eventually there will be a turnover when new blood comes in, but it will sort of happen in waves.
yeah, it's never a straight up change. So, but it's just a shame. I think Tau could have been fixed, but somehow they've nerfed them even more
Yeah, through
throughout ninth
FAQs
edition.
they nerfed them, didn't they? They actually nerfed them at the last FAQ. Um,
Yeah, it's just like
that
okay.
was weird. That was a really weird FAQ.
What was that? You
They
got
fucked the
one thing going
commanders.
for your army? Fuck you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, take it away.
They did. They just doubled the shield drones
yeah.
in points cost.
And then they did something to a commander, I think.
Yeah, they did weird
I don't know.
stuff.
It was like everyone was
When
expecting Space Wolf changes with their like obsec rules and all this other shit, and they were like, "We're nerfing Tau," and everyone
all
was
right.
like, "Wait, what? Why?" And this was the time. I think this was when sort of Drakari were about to come out, and it was just like, "What are
Yeah, it
you?
was just
What are
before
you
that.
doing?"
Yeah, it was before that, and I was like,
Yeah,
okay, it's time to get rid of the tower. They
yeah.
clearly don't know what they're doing with them.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to other bits and bobs. How are we feeling about them the free Overwatch? I'm neither here nor there. I'm not fussed. I'm happy for them to keep it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's fair.
definitely.
Again, for
Yeah.
for an army that's literally the only thing they got going for them right now.
Yeah.
Like they can Overwatch. That's the only thing. Because with the heavy melee emphasis in ninth, it's nice to have that army that can. It's like
Yeah.
sure we
Mhm.
can't do melee, but we can kind of
You
shoot
can
Shoot
at
you
shoot
on the
you
way
before
in.
you
Yeah.
get to
And like you mentioned, if they give those weird drone buffs or marker light buffs to just basic fire warriors, suddenly
it.
Overwatching with 20 fire warriors with 5 -1/1 weapons from drone buffs or whatever they might be,
yeah, it
is
could be
actually
interesting.
pretty effective, or would be
Yeah,
for most.
people would have to think a bit
Yeah,
before they just go in balls deep in some fish pussy.
yeah. Um, I'm just. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about is obviously every army seems to be getting some form of upgrades for points instead of CP or whatever. And I know Tau kind of already have their
Yeah.
special weapon systems, but I wouldn't mind seeing a bit that sort of expanded for a lot more, similar to the custom jobs for the Orcs. So Orcs have custom jobs for all their vehicles that they can apply to pretty much every vehicle. They're sort of unanimous across the army. And they're only
Mhm.
like 5, 10, 15 points here or there, but I wouldn't mind seeing that applied across a wider array of the army. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing because like I keep going back to the games on PC, like in Dawn of War 2, the town commander can have like a shield that
Mhm.
sort of does damage in melee and stuff like that. Just like little special systems that you can bolt onto every squad, every battle suit, just to
They already have that, dude.
on
They got
everything.
every battle suit has that. Yeah,
Yeah,
every battle suit has gets access to support systems.
for points.
But
So
then they've
they
got
already got
support
that.
systems, and then there's something else they've got, experimental weapons or something?
Yeah,
Yeah, those are just it's basically yeah. But experimental weapons were from Psychic
Psychic
Awakening, weren't
Awakening.
they?
Yeah,
Yeah, which is just like one unit can in your army. It was just not even one unit. It's like one model gets like experimental weapons. Kind of sucked. I'm not gonna lie. It was a
yeah,
half cocked attempt to buff them. Yeah, it would be cool to see more experimental weapons. I'd love to be able to like have a whole unit and get some saucy guns. But they was just kind of meh. I think the only one that was good was the one that the Storm Tide,
Homicide. Yeah,
the Riptide could take, which was the like really beefy melter, basically.
yeah,
Mhm.
So that was cool. Yeah, that was pretty dope. Besides that, not much. But yeah, they already have support systems. So I think Tau, in terms of like at least the battle suits, like by far the most customizable
yeah. Which is cool.
customizable use.
Exactly
Yeah,
how they
it's
should be.
super cool. I love that shit.
Yeah,
I loved it. I think that was one of the things that I really liked about Tau. Like you could, dig around the support systems. Like,
yeah,
ooh, my opponent's bringing flyers. Ooh, better get those advanced targeting systems. It was cool. I think probably they need to be looked at again because you can't stack hit
yeah.
modifiers
That's the
anymore.
issue.
So again, that was the other half of their modifier stacking, right? You take like your target locks, velocity trackers, advanced targeting systems, that kind of stuff. Sorry,
Yeah,
advanced targeting systems is the AP one, I believe, wasn't it?
yeah. It
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, no, you had the target lock and velocity trackers. Those are the ones that added, well, helped with hit modifiers.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. I love the Tau. It was in theory they're a really cool faction. They're like flavorful in like what they're meant to be, right? The their mechanics kind of match their flavor. Just so happens that the game rules don't match their
yeah.
mechanics.
Yeah. And I'm just looking through the relics at the minute, and they seem to be shocking.
Dog shit. Yeah, bro. They're not great.
Absolute wank. You've got one that basically, if a unit comes within 6 inches of the bearer of the relic, they suffer a mortal wound. So that's like
Woohoo!
what?
Wow. You
Yeah.
can kill half a marine.
Yeah. With a relic.
Woo! I love
Um,
it.
a model with this relic has a 5 up invulnerable save, and can deny which. All right, okay, that's
Eh.
I can no, but I can see where they're going with that. That just needs to be possibly improved. I mean, the Tau don't have any psychics, so they don't have any deny psychic powers.
Yeah, which is fine,
So
right? I don't think that's a
I think
problem.
that's quite a good one. I just think it maybe it needs to be a bit bigger or a bit better, or maybe take it out of a relic and just make it a piece of war gear you can give to commanders, etc.
Yeah. It's yeah,
And
it's
then you've got the last one, the Mirror Codex. You can, when resolving attacks made by a model with this relic against a unit that was in 18 inches, you can reroll hit rolls. Well, I'm sorry, like most of the armies get reroll hits just lashed out left, right, and centre.
yeah. I mean, that's again, yeah. A lot of that stuff is just overwritten by what the Markalites did.
Yeah,
They have a
that's
relic Gatling burst cannon that's a strength 5 AP 0 1 damage. That's a
Yeah,
relic.
dude.
That's a fucking relic.
Yeah, it's It's one extra strength
That's
compared to the normal.
literally an orc super shooter.
Yeah, it's not great. Not
Fucking
great.
A. Jesus. It's sad. I quite like the custom tenets though.
Oh wait,
I'm
no, it's not. Sorry, it's what was that weapon again? Sorry.
Gatling burst cannon,
Exactly.
18-inch,
That's
assault
strong,
4,
yeah.
501.
Oh, it's Assault 5. Ooh, one
Assault
extra
4,
shot.
501.
All four. But
That's
that's
a
a
relic.
prototype.
Yeah.
No, it's a prototype weapon system.
Oh, my bad, yeah.
That doesn't make sense because the normal burst cannon is Assault 4 501.
Oh. Oh, this does more. Wait, what? Oh no, it does. It gets additional hits on sixes.
Ours got exploding sixes, right?
On
Yeah,
a
yeah,
4 fucking shotgun? Like, what?
yeah. It's trash.
Yeah, it's just.
I think
Yeah.
that's when they started dropping the ball because they did. In fairness, when their 8th edition Codex came out, it was awesome. I think it was probably one of the coolest codexes in
It
8th
was a
edition.
very strong codex, I remember
Just
at the time.
yeah, and not even like necessarily. I don't think about the strength. It's just like how many cool things they had. Like it felt like such a well thought out codex, right? With all their little support systems and how the drones interacted. There was just a lot of really cool synergies in the armies. It was dope.
Shall we have a look and see who wrote that code?
Yeah, go for it. Is that guy still around? I feel
I
like
don't know.
they took him out of the Tau and put him on Drakari, dude.
What's that?
I'm just because I've got the 8th edition codex here, but I'm wondering did that actually because it was about it when they actually stopped maybe crediting the authors
Yeah, maybe.
and it was
Um,
changed to the team, the Games
the
Workshop team.
custom tenets I'm kind of okay with. I know a lot of I know people run custom set tenets for competitive. They all seem decent.
Yeah,
I
for
quite
the
enjoyed.
extra AP
Yeah,
on missiles. Yeah, they were cool. I like those as well. I don't see those going away because kept the custom factions for pretty much every
yeah, yeah,
codex that came in, didn't they? So as long as they keep those missile ones, I want more missile broadsides, dude. Missile broadsides are cool.
yeah. Other
All the
than
missing
that,
all
um, oh, the I found it. So the Games Workshop Tau Designers Commentary, the 8th edition Tau Codex was written by a Guard player, Imperial Guard, by the guy who did the Imperial Guard Codex.
what's he called?
I'm trying to find it, but I've just found the interview. Yeah, so they don't have a guy to write Tau. They have a guy who writes Imperial Guard who happens to write Tau. Maybe that changed, and maybe they've got someone for ninth, but
Who knows? I just hope
Well,
it's good.
I'm trying to think. It
It's
wasn't
just
Robin Curtis, was it?
but it's not got the name.
No.
no. I think they stopped writing the names of
Yes,
people who
as
wrote
of
the
fifth
codex
edition, they stopped writing the names of the authors, but
after
they
yeah
did a
after the whole
design.
Matt
Yeah,
Ward debacle.
yeah,
Yeah, the
Our
Matt Ward
spiritual
movie.
liege.
yeah,
Good times. Good times.
yeah. So basically, Tau were designed by an Imperial Guard writer.
Which is was fine, dude. He did a cracking job, I think. I hope he does ninth edition
Yeah.
as well
Um.
because he knew what he was
Yeah,
doing.
and I mean, Guard were great in eighth as well.
They were better than better than great. I think they were strong. They're very strong.
Yeah, not anymore. Sadly, they're still doing better than Tau, but yeah, it's
Not
been
hard, is it?
no. Anyway, that's pretty much all of the notes I had down. Is there anything else anyone else has sort of thought of or would like to add in?
I mean, we haven't talked about Farsight and the Farsight Enclave.
Oh,
Like,
the
I
8.
don't know.
Well, the 8
Well,
kind of suck, right?
what is there anything in the codex that doesn't at the minute?
Yeah, I mean, Farsight is cool. People run Farsight enclaves fundamentally
Mm.
as that's the most competitive way to play is Farsight enclaves with custom sets.
So,
It's good Commander
yeah,
Farsight, sorry. Um,
yeah.
but the
They
8,
only play if it's yeah.
I mean,
You can only play 2 of the 8, though, can't you?
yeah, The thing you've got to ask is, do you want the 8 to be a highly competitive uh sort of what would you call it? Would you want them to be like a properly competitive army by themselves, or would you prefer them to remain um a casual player's option for narrative games?
I think they should
Mhm.
stay as a flavor because it's hard. The eight are just a combination of different battle
Yeah,
suits
they're
with
just named
set in
battle suits.
stone loadouts, right?
Yeah,
So unless you like put them on crack, they're never gonna be that great. Either they have to come at some ludicrous discount
yeah.
or like be super juiced up.
Because you can basically run the exact same models, but customize them with the
Yeah,
actual weapons you want that are decent
yeah,
for the
Mhm.
tournament scene or competitive play. If you're playing the
Yeah.
8, you are narrowed to some very specific weapons.
yeah,
Um, and tower sort of a bit of a Swiss Army knife of gun platforms, and to
yeah.
go from that sort of multiple gun platform Swiss Army knife to all I've got is this fucking sous chef cleaver, um,
Yeah.
and that's it.
I've never been never cared too much about the eight. I know they're a thing, but eh. Yeah, I think Farsight, uh, and Shadow Sun and Dark Strider are way more interesting.
Yeah, and they should be
No.
fleshed out and put in their Supreme Command attachment rules or whatever.
Yeah, I can see like Farsight doing that, right? Because she's
Yeah,
the main one, and I think what's his name? Crap. Uh, the
Hello, son.
yeah, Shadow Sun
Shadow
and
Sun.
the other guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, they need to be Supreme Commanders.
Oh,
Make
thanks the guy. Shadowson's the girl.
yeah. Sorry, I was just my mind went blank.
No, no,
Yeah,
sorry.
they're both cool as hell.
Um,
Like I love Shadow Sun. She's cool as hell with her like giant quads because her new model is dope with the quad quad plasmas. Pretty great. And yeah, Shadows and yeah, Farsight with his neat little sword. It's great stuff.
I'm just looking at Shadow Sun's stats now. She's actually kind of cool.
She's she's all right. She's not people argue like the old one was a bit better, but yeah, she's not bad. She's not. She gets
Yeah,
the wacky drones.
I think they're just moving away from Supreme Commanders being this solo unit that
Yeah.
is going to go into your enemy battle lines and destroy them, and then pushing more towards force multipliers. So the Silent King is a
mhm.
force multiplier. Um, Sort of Gazgul as a missile, but a force multiplier primarily, surrounding with boys
Mhm.
for the benefits of
Yeah. I
auras and
mean, the
stuff.
thing is, like, Gaskell can still wreck face, though.
Yeah.
Like, you still wouldn't want to, you
Oh
still
yeah,
don't
yeah.
get touched
No.
by him. He's like, I want to play Orcs just because of him. Like, his model is so good,
It
man.
is a
Oh
nice
my God. I
model.
love that model.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I think we've come up with some pretty reasonable things actually. Like
Hmm.
Mhm.
decent quality of life stuff, massive changes to things that could be done. I don't feel like we've extended too far. I think the most important thing is for them to A, be good again, but B, not be like the army they were before, where people got frustrated because they couldn't fundamentally interact with your army.
Um,
Yeah.
e- I don't know how I feel about that one. Personally, I think it was fine to have them play completely differently. I know it can be frustrating sometimes. Um, but I think it's important to have armies like that in the game. I think
Diversity of rules, yeah.
I
Well,
I think you need armies because Tower's such a cool, unique faction in terms of their rules. I think it's fine for them to play completely differently. Like, if they become another by the numbers like shooting army, sure, it's fine. But But look, I'm not saying they should like go back to like the Triptide Castle with like 50 drones. Was it a dumb play style? Yeah, it was pretty silly, but it was cool. Personally, I thought it was cool that they played so different to everyone else. I would like them to stay different.
Yeah, I'd like them to be
Still.
different, but I don't want it to be
Yeah.
the discrepancy between like Hearthstone. Like in Hearthstone, you have absolutely zero interaction with your opponent compared to other card games, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe
I think
I think it's fine to go back to that drone, but I think maybe make the drones like maybe change how the drones work a bit because the shield drones were so tough.
Yeah.
Like maybe make them not as ridiculous.
no. I think it just goes back to what we keep saying week in, week out, which they need to go to the rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock mentality, where something beats something beats something beats something. And
I don't know. I don't. Again, maybe it's just me. Um, I feel like when it comes to competitive 40k, maybe I don't. I I look at it the way I look at Magic, maybe
Yeah.
like competitive MTG. I wouldn't say. I mean, there's always going to be armies that got to be better against other armies, right? That's never gonna change unless you're playing Tower, and then everyone's better than you. Um, but
Except
I think it's
GSC.
more about options. I advocate for options
Yeah.
rather than making armies
yeah,
better against other armies. Like I'm fine with an army not being like I don't. I think an army is way more interesting. Like for example, Tau, right? I'd rather have Tau be mid tier, but still retain the option for different
Yeah.
like customize their army to be better against something than just dead ass be a one-dimensional army that's like, oh, I'm a very shooty army that can't melee. And then all of
no,
a sudden that's all they do, right? They either shoot good and
Mm.
then they die in melee.
I think that's why
It'd
I
be
like
nice to have it.
Custody so much, is because apart from one or two units, everything feels viable.
Yeah, they're just
hmm
such a flexible
Yeah.
army. That's why I like Custody as well.
well,
I've
I,
been really enjoying playing them.
I get what you're saying. I suppose it goes then to you should. I suppose much like the Space Marines, the multi Swiss tool, because they've got that many options. You can run all Gravis, all Phobos, all Firstborn, all Secondborn. I think I said this a couple of videos ago. Then give the Tau the ability, if somebody wants to run a couple of Tau commanders or an ethereal and a load of Crew investment, then they should be able to do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
And
Like,
then you can have your Tau army as an all-out assault army. Make Crew investment viable, so that if you run like 90% with that, with just maybe one or two battle suits, you can have a melee Tau army. Because how cool will that be? Oh yeah, I'm playing Tau. All right, okay, so it's just gun line. You actually turn up to play the bugger,
With
and he's got like
80
Crew
crew.
investment like
80, yeah.
spammed, and you're just like, oh shit, I'm going into combat with these guys. Do you know what I mean? And there's a chance I'm going to get mullered.
yeah, no, there should be options. I mean, they already did that well in 8th edition, right? With all their support systems.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Mhm.
So I think they just need maybe we were wrong, Nathan. Maybe they do just need a bit of tightening up on their
On
data sheets.
scoring and
Now
sheets,
that
yeah.
the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm realizing maybe not they're not actually they just need fixing the bits that don't work anymore.
Yeah.
I think they might be good again. And again, I'd love to see the Kroot be good. I'd love to see the tanks be good. But I think that goes for any faction. I want to see the shitty units be good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I
There's
think
an
they just need
awful
time.
lot of armies at the moment, not just Tau, where their iconic units are not viable in competitive
Mm,
play. Like
yeah,
Space Marines, how many fucking competitive players run anything but infiltrators in the troop slot? How many Death Guard players run space actual Marines other than Poxwalkers?
Yeah, great
Like,
names.
how many Tau play Fire Warriors and actually don't just run fucking breaches for days? It's
and
so
breaches are
weird.
just fire warriors
Well,
with a
yeah.
different weapon, really.
Yeah. I think they're
They get
elite. I
cooler
think they're
hats
in
as
the
well.
elite slot though.
No, no,
No? Yeah, but you know
no.
what I
No,
mean.
Breaches are
yeah,
breaches are just literally just fire warriors with a slightly different
Shotgun, yeah.
weapon loadout.
Yeah, it's
They have
just
a cooler hat as well.
oh Yeah, it's yeah, I just feel like they need to do a bit more for troops. I feel like they tried by making actions only be you done by infantry,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
and giving only
You know what?
infantry obsec, but then they started giving everything obsec, and so infantry no longer mattered too much.
Yeah. I
You know
mean,
what I really liked about, and I think it was 8th edition. I mean, granted I didn't play, but when you read through the codex and you look at it, you think that is so fucking cool. With the
I'm not.
formations,
I'm not gonna lie. Eighth edition, like towards the end, especially when we started playing, like with ITC
Rules,
rules,
yeah,
it was good,
it
man.
was,
Oh my god, eighth edition was good. And I think, oddly enough, I think when we first started playing ninth edition, it felt not bad.
yeah,
Like
except
the
for
changes
Tau.
felt good, and then just because of the missions were very objective focused. But I think once the metas started settling in and people figured out what's good and what's not, I think the cracks started to show.
Yeah,
mhm, but that's what I'm saying. But the formations, you paid so many points, and you had to use these certain models, but you got these certain rules that were usually really cool.
Yeah, it was some good stuff.
Like,
Um,
why can't we have those again?
well, that's armies of renown, isn't it?
yeah. I know. I think that was one thing that I didn't like about ninth edition is how they did the detachments. So they went from getting points for the detachments to losing points for detachments. I personally don't like that rule because I feel like it hinders army building more than it.
Well,
It
that's what I'm saying. So an army of renown is specifically an army of renown. But with the way that they used to do the the formations,
Yeah, the
you,
detachments.
you could you could have multiple formations. So the formation, for example, I'm just looking at this one, was a ghost kill and two storm surges, or there was a one where you could have
Mhm.
where was the other one? It was just like all stealth drones. But these were formations, so you just had to pay, or at least as I understood
No,
it, you had to
no,
pay the
no, no,
point.
no, 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 no. No, there were no such thing as specific
not in eighth. I
formation.
think he's looking at
Yeah,
a
not in
older
eighth.
codex.
It's not in eighth edition.
Right.
Yeah, no, no. In eighth edition, how detachments worked is you actually start off with, was it 3 CP,
You
right?
started off with 3 and you
Yeah, and then
gained,
you got points for what detachments you brought, right? So
Might
if you
even be
brought like a
seven.
specialized, like the elite detachments, right, the vanguard detachment,
Yeah.
you'd get like 1 point extra.
but if you
While
bought a
if you brought a
brigade,
battalion or a brigade, you got a lot more, right? So then you
Yeah.
you had to balance this thing where, do I care about troops, right? Do I want to bring more troops to bring a battalion to bring the big boys, like get the big CP? Or for example, like Death Guard, I used to love playing Death Guard because I could bring no troops.
yeah,
I only brought like heavy and elite detachments,
Hmm.
and I didn't care about troops. So I thought that was a cooler way of doing it, right? Because I was like, I don't care about the CP. I just don't want to waste my points on troops because they're quite expensive.
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's one of
What?
those.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I want conclusion. Make Trip Tide great again. That's-
uh, I would just like to see a lot of iconic units brought back into a bit of a limelight. Make Fire
Hmm.
Warriors a bit more
What
viable.
about
Make their
what about
Hammerheads
stealth
viable.
suits?
What's that? Sorry.
Stealth suits?
Yeah, I mean, stealth
Stealth suits
suits
are not
fill
bad.
the same role as infiltrators in Space Marines. As
Hmm.
far as best I can tell, they do exactly the same thing. But I guess Tau don't take them because they must cost too many points or something.
Or they don't want to be high up the board with
Um,
deny deep strike.
the stealth suits are not bad, right? They deep strike.
Yeah.
You can put melters basically on them.
Oh, okay. Why don't people run them then?
They just kind of die.
Yeah.
They get -1 to hit, right, from the
Yeah.
camo fields. But at the end of the day, they're just toughness 4 with 2 wounds and a 3 up save.
Okay. So they literally are infiltrators.
Yeah, but they're how much are they? They're like what?
Squad of three.
a squad of 3 for 78 points. People used to run them. Like, people used to run them if they could fit. But
Yeah.
again, weapon, like ballistic skill 4 up.
Ah, okay.
Again, you deep
Yeah.
Yeah.
strike them.
So
And
they're
then
quite
what?
expensive and they're not great at shooting.
Yeah, it's just, Actually, no. Is it just one guy that can take the burst cannons or fusion blasters? I don't think you. I don't even think you can take the whole unit with like fusion blasters. Fusion blasters are their version of melters.
Oh, I'm just looking at it now. Each model unit may be blah, 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 blah.
I think they just come with burst cannons, right? And you
Only
can
one
add.
model can
Yeah,
replace its burst cannon out of
Right.
3, but if they go to 6, then 2 can replace their burst cannon.
yeah.
Right. Which I suppose you can split fire, so that's all right. You just target that with that and then that with that. But honestly, like listening to you two, looking, dipping into it myself, I think Dan hit the nail on the head. I think, oh, Nathan, early on, one of you said they need to shoot better. And I think they need to shoot better than guardsmen. So you need to give them a stock standard. What what do guardsmen shoot on a 5+?
4 up.
4 up.
4 up. So the Marines shoot on a 3 up. So yeah, give them a 3 up.
Yeah, they should have the ballistic skill of Marines, but just be weaker.
Well, yeah. So you kind of you need to place them. You need to place their toughness. So your fire
They're already
warriors have got to.
toughness 3,
Yeah,
so
Yeah, you need to keep them T3.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
what's a sister of battle these days? Is a sister of battle T3?
yeah.
yeah. Sisters is T3, right? But they're like what? Their troops are what
T3.
with the 5 up save, right? Or is that 4 up?
No,
I
power
think they're.
armor.
They have power armor. It's 4 up.
No, sorry, I'm
Power.
talking about the
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
3 up.
No, sisters have power armor. It's a 3 up save. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
Pretty sure
sisters
it is.
are a
Yeah,
3 up.
the
Should
sisters.
be.
Oh
Yeah, yeah,
fuck! They've got a 3 up save.
yeah. They're power armored.
Yeah,
They're just not as strong.
just
Yeah,
T3 though.
They have little
So
lady arms.
see, all right. So you say Tau, yeah. So you say ballistic skill 3
3
up,
up. Yeah,
Yeah,
strength 3, toughness
yeah. They're already strength 3 and toughness 3,
yeah,
and I
3.
think
Yeah,
their 4 up save is fine.
yeah.
I think
yeah,
their stat lines are usually fine. It's
That's
just
that.
that
It's just a
ballistic
ballistic
skill
skill.
sucks. Yeah,
yeah. And I think if you did that, so you did army wide, you know, better ballistic skill, even give you commanders like let them go to BS2.
all of their
Um,
commanders are already BS2. That's the funny part, right?
Oh,
They have all
are
of their
they?
commanders and
Right.
HQs are already BS2, and just everyone
it's
else is
like they
4.
made everything BS4 to validate marker lights.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they created a problem so they
Yeah,
can solve it with marker
yeah.
lights. Yeah,
Instead of
Well, that's what we talked about. So you get the mark lights to do something else,
yeah,
like just I don't know, army wide ignore cover or something if you get so many marker lights
they've
on them.
already got
So
that.
yeah. They already do that kind of stuff. Again, it's
oh,
just
forget the
not very
ballistic
appealing.
skill.
Yeah,
Yeah, so just give them the 3 up ballistic skill. Give them the 3+ ballistic skill. Let marker lights do something janky. They maybe it's AP or like I
yeah.
say, cover that kind of thing. So it's still worth taking them.
Yeah. So like, what is it? So marker lights now do what? One marker light gives you rerolls once,
Yep.
right? Which is pretty good. That's great.
Yeah,
2 makes your seeker missiles and destroyer missiles and shit fire on
Ballistic skill.
on the
Yeah.
firing
Which again
things.
is they're solving a problem that they created on
Yeah.
purpose to solve
Yep.
with marker lights.
so right, so we take that one out because that one would be redundant then.
Yep. 3 is ignore cover, which is good, especially in this
Yeah,
edition.
Yeah,
In 8th edition, it didn't matter that much. In this
yeah,
edition, it's much
yeah.
more useful.
right.
4, it's where you want it to be at, right? Which is the oh wait, no, it's 5 you want it to be at.
5.
4
Yeah.
is models don't suffer penalty for moving and firing
A heavy
heavy
was it? Yeah.
weapons or advancing firing assault, which is fine. That's worth keeping in. And then 5 or more is add 1 to the hit rolls, right? So it was always just cheesing it to 5 marker light.
Right.
Which
But
again, it just
five,
meant like a lot of your units just had to fire marker lights rather than anything else for your army to function.
Yeah, and it was just on one model as well.
Yeah, exactly. So Tau just had to blast.
One thing.
That's what they did. Yeah, they just
Yeah.
shot one thing really well, which is not very good now anymore
No.
because no one's bringing big shit anymore. Everyone's just running nothing but infantry
Yeah.
to do points and stuff. So.
yeah, multiple scoring units.
Yeah, so marker
Same
lights are
as
just
shooting.
not as effective.
No.
Anyway, I think
So
we've
yeah,
I think we've pretty much covered everything. Most of it
Yeah.
seems all right and reasonable to me. It's just we don't want to see armies with a 38% win rate. it's,
no,
it's just people should be able to play the armies they like without knowing that they're instantly going to be crushed to death.
Yeah, that's it. It's just knowing that your army sucks is just really fucking demoralizing.
Yeah. And it could be easily fixed with FAQs, but never mind. Anyway,
Absolutely.
thank you everyone for tuning in and listening. If you want to join in with us for next week on Thursday, we are playing Death Guard versus Custodes. Dan will be joining us next week, so we'll have James on the computer managing the stream, so I can stop fucking up the muting of microphones.
The computer.
Yeah, so hopefully things will less painful things will happen. Might be able to sort the dice camera out to make it a little bit more visible. I know I've increased the size of the box already, so that should sort of help things smooth out a little bit. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening, and we'll catch you next week on Thursday at 7.
will do.
And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button and press the like and things if you're still here.
All then shenanigans.
Yep.
Thanks,
Right.
guys.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Bye bye.